I wish everyone in here can see it. I wish everyone. Yeah, future hands. I wish everyone. I gave my blood, sweat, tears. You couldn't know what I did.
Here we go. Training has taught me to annihilate any obstacle that comes my way. Instead of running away from things, it's taught me to run through things, pushing my mind and body through limits that could never be surpassed. It's taught me patience, consistency. It's taught me discipline. It's taught me life skills that a person needs to succeed. It showed me how to outwork all of my competitors. It taught me how to set goals and smash them one by one and set new goals at new levels. Without training, I would have nothing. It's built my mind a certain type of way. Any situation, any challenge can come in front of me and I will tear it to pieces. Try telling me I can't do something. I was raised in a small town, but I made my way to the big city at 17 years old. That's where I started seeing some real shit. One thing I knew all too well was how to turn nothing into something real quick. I started hustling cigarettes at 13 years old, and it didn't stop there, man. I knew how to hustle. I hustled everything. I know this game inside out. It's not what you sell, it's how you sell it. I thought I was living the life. Crazy amounts of money running through my hands.
Watch out, break my wrist. Make that water whip. Stretch it out and flip.
Running shit in the city where the big boys play. Got the Benz, the jewelry, the house, the girl. But I wasn't doing this for the money, man. I was simply doing it to fit and doing it to belong. That's why most of us do it in the first place, to be a part of something. To fit into my family that I'd made on the streets. My street dogs, my brothers, my crew, my gang. Let me kick it back to where it all started. My dad was a single child. His parents passed away when he was really, really young. He immigrated to a small town, Williams Lake, in the late 70s. I give my father all the credit in the world. With nothing but a big dream and a bag of clothes, he built us a life from nothing. He grinded all his life in a mill to feed us. That's where I get my work ethic. I figured that out now. My folks lived in a basement when I was born. The basement belonged to another Brown family, and this family had been here for quite some time. They gave my family a sense of parents and gave me a sense of grandparents. To me, they became my grandparents. Although we had no blood relation, I called them Big Mom and Big Dad and aunts and uncles, and that's how we were. We were one big family. My aunts and uncles, Big Mom and Big Dad, I guess, they were, you can call it a wrestling family. Family of athletes that the number one thing on their mind was sports, wrestling, competing, and succeeding at that. And they were pretty good at it. That's what originally planted the seed of fitness and sports in my head at a very, very young age. The downside of growing up in a family like this is that there's two sets of values. Not every family believes in the same morals. On one side, I have my parents who believe in a certain type of way. Then we have Big Mom and Big Dad who believe in their kind of way. So there's kind of intertwining and creating confusion in my mind at a very young age. So I became a master manipulator before the age of 5 years old. I knew very well how to throw both families against each other just so I can have what I want. I was accustomed to living a double life early in my days. They say a person's character is built between the age of 1 to 5. Well, you can already imagine what kind of character I was building real quick. I grew up a fat, chubby kid, didn't have many friends, got bullied, and got into fights early on, young. My uncle told me, you get in a fight, you lose, don't come home, man. And my parents, on the other hand, told me, no, fighting's bad, don't fight. It's not what you do, it's not the right solution. So again, you can imagine the confusion. And I just played it one day at a time, man. In small communities where the Indian culture existed back then, the temple was a really big thing. It brought everybody together. Even for myself, I felt myself kind of belonging at the temple at a young age. One day there was a kirtan, and it was an overnight kirtan, and we call it a Ransbai. All night long, hymns are sang, and it's actually pretty cool, pretty serene event. People from all over the big city and other towns came to our town. Out of towners, basically, they did the kirtan. I fell asleep in the middle of the night and I woke up. And when I woke up in the morning, I just had this burning desire to want to be Amrit. Amrit means to be baptized. Now, half of my family thought that I was batshit crazy, but the other half of my family thought that this was some type of miracle. Lo and behold, me and my brother, we decided to actually go ahead with it. And from that very day, my parents, they stopped eating meat. They became devoted Sikhs, and 1 year later, they became Amrit as well. Call it, we started the trend, persuaded our parents into being Amrit as well. Like everything I do, I started to go all out. I became a role model for the young Sikhs, and I started doing kirtan, I started doing tabla. In fact, I won tabla championships, I won turban tying championships, I won kirtan championships. I went all around North America doing kirtan and tabla, and just setting an example for young kids everywhere on how to live Amrit lifestyle. Parents from all different cities were telling their kids, you need to be like him. Honestly, I kind of loved it because I finally had a sense of belonging, and I had my place. I earned it. It made me feel good. My mom, she taught me all of the Sikh history. And I'd be speaking in front of 1,000 people at the temple, sharing our Sikh history, which is about 600-700 years old. Man, I would know all the details that even some of the parents wouldn't know. It was really impressive, and to tell you the truth, I'm really glad that I went through that, because I keep that with me very dear even till today. Fast forward to grade 8. Now, when I decided to get Amrit in grade 4, I didn't really have an idea what it was going to be like to be a young adult growing up with not being able to cut my hair. So here we are in grade 8, and I got this funny looking beard. Kids are starting to make fun of me. And it's not like the big city where there's thousands of us. I'm a very rare kind of a person in a small town with this beard, and I really started to stick out. Man, it was awkward. So I'm not too good at the books, like average. I'm not too good at sports. Remember, I don't have much friends. So I'm starting to be this outcast again. So it started distracting me from the actual spiritual baptized Sikh that I was. The pressure of fitting in and belonging again took me away from the existence I had in the Sikh community, because the Sikh community was very small in a small town, Williams Lake. So not being able to fit in at school with the jocks or with the bookworms, I started attracting myself to the bad boys. I figured out really early how to get in with these guys. Remember, I'm a master manipulator since I was a toddler. So I seen what they needed. These guys were always partying and drinking and smoking and doing their thing, even though I had no interest on drinking and smoking and getting high or any of that stuff. I figured out a way how I can get credit cards and go run them. Remember, I had a beard. I can get into a beer wine store and they're not going to ID me. So I started getting my hands on stolen credit cards and going to beer wine stores and going to places and where I can get cigarettes, cartons of cigarettes and flats of beer. I started supplying their parties, and all of a sudden I was a cool kid. And they had my back. They didn't care about my beard. They had my back with anybody that bullied me. So that gave me, again, a sense of belonging at a very young age, grade 8, grade 9. And it wasn't long until I started hustling my very first hustle. That was in the smoke pit, grade 9, hustling cigarettes, 50 cents a pop from all the cigarette cartons that I'd be getting. Man, I'd just be in there, 50 cents, 50 cents, 50 cents. End of the day, I got a stack of quarters, I got a stack of change. I'm balling at that age. After hours at night, I'd have flats of beers, Old English beers, Budweisers. I'd be selling them like fucking nothing at parties. Slanging that beer, booze, beer, cigarettes. I'd be just hustling that shit at grade 9. And again, that got me a reputation, and it got me away from the people that were picking on me. Now those same people are coming to me and showing me love. So it was quite the transition at a very young age. Well, life of crime is only going to go so far, right? 12 years old, I got caught with a credit card and I caught my first charge. 12 years old, turning 13. And let me tell you, man, Williams Lake back in those days never had a judge. So a judge has to come in once a week, and until the judge comes in, they're going to hold you. And where do they hold you? They're going to hold you in an adult holding tank. a city cell. And so that's where they took my ass at 13. And I spent a whole week, 23-hour lockdown in a fucking city cell. Man, I was just going crazy. There's no TV, there's no radio, there's no fucking books, there's nothing, man. Nothing but drunks screaming, fucking yelling. I remember by day 4 or 5, I was just straight talking to myself. And I promise I'll never do this again. Let me out, let me out, let me out. And I still remember those days till today, man. This is when Big Dad came back into my life. Remember, I'd been born into his house, and so he came into my life, he intervened. He told my parents that he's going to start training me, and he told me that, hey, you're going to start training. At the time, I was like, all right, whatever. But he was actually serious. What he was trying to do, and I understand this now very well, he's trying to focus all my energy onto something positive, which was training. When you're fully dialed in on training, you don't have much option for distractions. When we got into the training, the first month or two, it just started off as the basics, just trying to teach me the discipline, trying to keep my life straight and narrow. But again, when I do something, I do it all out. I started gaining mad strength. I started gaining new muscle. And by month 3 and 4, they were like, what the fuck, this guy can be something. And so they themselves stepped it up a notch and started taking it a little bit serious. By month 5 and 6, it was clear to them that if I kept going, I could actually be a champion. I would be a beast animal, even better than my uncles. So, man, I love training. I love fucking training. Because it was progressive training. Every day I train, I have to do better than the last time. I have to lift more weight. I have to run faster. I have to do more push-ups. So that challenging aspect allowed me to break through barriers, and it gave me little sense of accomplishments every single time that I would train. Those small accomplishments is what kept me going. I would dream about those gains. I would sleep on them. I would be thinking about them all night long. I'd wake up and I'd fucking smash it. All this at age 13, 14, and it makes a person a certain type of way. By age 15, I was doing 1,000 push-ups a day. That's no joke. It's 1,000 push-ups a day, man. And we started out with sets of 10, sets of 25, sets of 50, sets of 100. I got myself up to finally. The first time I did a set of 250 without putting my knees on the ground, my coaches, my uncles, they were so fucking happy. They were like, I can actually make it. They told me stories about how my uncle did 1,000 push-ups a day. Those stories just motivated me, man. All I wanted to do was be like my uncles. All I wanted to do was hit those 1,000 fucking push-ups. So I just kept working, man. I got up to a set of 500 without putting my knee on the ground. That's one set of 500, man. Lo and behold, it took me about 3 months. And I got to my first set of 1,000 push-ups. That's 1,000 push-ups without touching my knee to the floor in 43 minutes. Once I banged out that one set, they knew. They knew that I was going to do some fucked up shit. And they started supporting me in a whole different level. They started feeding me more. And of course, I can't eat meat at my house because my parents are Ummershuck and we used to be Ummershuck. So I had an uncle who lived up the road, and he heard of my 1,000 push-up story, and he's like, I'm going to make you all the meat you need. That's what he did. Him and his wife, every fucking day, they would cook my meat, my goat, my chicken, my beef, everything that I couldn't make at home. They would have it ready for me 4 or 5 meals a day. And I would go over there after training, and I was not allowed to leave the table until I drank half a gallon of whole milk, as well as all of my protein, as well as 3-4 big plates of rice. So you can just imagine me growing like no tomorrow at the age of 15 years old. My uncle would wake me up. My uncle, Big Dad, he would wake me up at 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning. He'd feed me 3 cups of Cremo, not milk, Cremo. 3 boiled cups of Cremo. Could you imagine what that's doing to a guy who's doing 1,000 push-ups every day and eating like that? The whole town thought I was on steroids. I didn't even touch such a thing, man. And I was just fucking huge.
Get fly, I got 6 jobs, I don't get tired. I don't get tired. I don't get tired. I don't get tired. Get fly, I got 6 jobs, I don't get tired.
Only meaning one thing, don't get
Those push-ups, they built my mind like a warrior. They taught me to just bust through any fucking challenge and just fucking kill it. And there's nothing I can't do because of those push-ups. I wouldn't be who I am today if I didn't do those fucking push-ups. Now I'm nailing all these push-ups. Then came the weights, then came the running, the sprinting. Man, they were just, everybody around me was just so in awe on what I was doing at such a young age that they were now starting to shelter me that nobody would find out. It's like I was like a secret weapon that they had under their grasp. They were actually going to turn me into something and unleash me to the world. That gave me this sense of pride. They gave me this sense of belonging again. Again, my confidence, I was ready to tear anybody apart. You bring a person in front of me and I'll fucking tear them up. That's the mentality that it gave me. And remember, wrestling and kabaddi, the sport that we played back then, it's a one-person sport. It's not a team sport. It's a kill or be killed kind of mentality. And what that does for a person's confidence / ego, it takes it on another level. And literally, you're able to kill someone right in front of you. You will fucking tear them apart. It wasn't long before there was no more competition in that town, man. I had outgrown everybody in that town. All the kids that thought they were little athletes, I was just running circles around them. I was just toying with these kids because of the amount of training and the amount of food that was being fed to me. So naturally, my big dad and my uncles, they decided to take me to the big city, the land of opportunities. And that's where all the competitions were going on. That's where the real competitors were, the real coaches were, the real recognition was. So 52 weekends in a year, they took me 52 times to the big city, Surrey. I would go there, I would train, eat, sleep, drive right back 500 kilometers. And we did this every damn weekend. When they see me off in traffic, they say Jeezy. When I went to Surrey and these people would see me, they were like, holy cow, I was like a prodigy that everybody was just in awe on how did you get this guy to be such an animal? And again, I was like a secret weapon. They're like wanting to keep it hush hush. So I went to Surrey 52 times out of the year. But when people in the big city would see me, they were so impressed by my size, my strength, my ability to run through people. And again, my family was just like, that's our secret weapon. That just kind of kept me contained. They didn't want anybody to know, and because they wanted me to finish my mission, right? So it came a time where there was nothing left for me in that small town. Big Dad talked to my parents. He's like, look, we're going to move this guy to the city now. He's turning 17. We're going to enroll him in a high school in the big city so he can wrestle, so he can go to Simon Fraser and wrestle with the big dogs up there. He's going to be somebody. And it was a sad moment because my parents, they don't want to leave they don't want your 17-year-old kid to be leaving 500 kilometers away to another city. But from the things that I had gone through, it was a lesser of two evils. My parents were like, all right, man, he's in your hands, he's in your care, just, you guys do good with him. That was that. I moved. Summer of 16, 17, man, I moved to Surrey. But first I cut my turban. And it was a big moment for me, man, because I had had a turban since I was grade 4. I'm going to grade 12, and it's not an easy thing doing that. And there was a lot of guilt behind it. There was a lot of disappointment, disappointing my parents, of course. So here I am, Surrey, man. I'm supposed to be wrestling and being champion. But what really ends up happening is I'm so fucking big and strong and muscled out that I started catching the attention of some bad boy gangsters, man. They were appealed by me, and as soon as I got a little bit of that feel of talking to them and hanging with them. Remember, I know how to talk to people. I know how to communicate. I know how to manipulate. I know how to get in when I need to get in. And I was appealed, man, because it was something I never had. And it reminded me of back in high school or junior high when I got in with my bad boys down there. The feeling I got of being a part of something, a part of a family. I just wanted that. Hanging out with these G's. I'm going to bars and clubs. I'm underage. I'm getting in VIP. I'm seeing things that a 17-year-old kid has no business seeing. And all that did was it just appealed to me, man. And that's what I wanted. And I wanted that. That was so powerful. I wanted that more than the wrestling trophy. I wanted it more than any championship, because that gave me a place of belonging. Remember, from day one, all I wanted to do was just belong. So that's what I chased. I said fuck the trophy. I went for the street life.
No, he's stressed. I lost the only girl in the world that know me best. I got the money.